Right, so we'll start this video with this Polo. This was my mother's car. She's 94, she doesn't drive anymore. She's in care at the moment, so I'll go and see her tomorrow. She dinged up all the front, and it was here a while ago, a couple of years ago, before I knew the blue Starlet and the other one had to go off to be brought back by Toyota because of the Takata airbags. That's before they were replacing them. This is a little 1.2 litre 6-speed manual. It's got cruise and anti-lock brakes and all the stuff on it. It's the safest car I've got at the moment. 80,000 k's on the clock. I've left it locked, but it's a beautiful little car. Absolutely lovely little car. I've never had full custody of a VW, but really happy with it. The green Corolla, that my daily, this is my new daily. It's got sort of curtain airbags and all this stuff, so it's a bit safer to take up to the other place. The green Corolla, I'm sort of on borrowed time with that because I reckon the cops will pull it over. I've got to do crash repair on it, fix an oil leak on it, and paint it. So I'm sort of hoping I can get that done through the summer. In the meantime, the Starlet. And there's 3 cars that I wanted to get on the road. That was one of them. The Fairlane and the XC this year. That was the plan. I wasn't sure about this one. I did say I wanted this one, but I'm not sure. I think the other 2 need attention. But it's getting dark. It's 20 to 8. Bit of news before we start on the CB100 engine. I took this in for Roadworthy last week. They picked a few things. I was kind of blasé about it. And thought, you know, I'll just chuck it in and see if it'll pass. It didn't. I put new tyres on because I found the old tyres were cracked. It's got a new windshield in it. New front engine mount. New left-hand gearbox mount down there. What else do I have to do to it? Oil leak under the front, which I cleaned up. New brakes at the back, so I had to put new drums on. And linings, and chuck a globe with that high mount there. So it's got new drums. The old one, I thought the old ones would be fine. These cars are like 850 kilos or something. But, well, that's one of them. Massive lip on the inside. And the shoes started delaminating. The fronts were alright, oddly enough. So that will go in for its retest tomorrow. The globe that came out of the high mount looked as, well, the filament was gone, but I'm not sure. Have I got, oh yeah, it's working there. Can you see it? There's light coming off that. So, I sort of tucked into it as soon as I got home. There was something else I had to do to it too. Windscreen, I put tyres on it. The engine mounts, the oil leak, the high mount, and the rear brakes, yeah. They said it was a nice car. And the green one that I had has now gone to a young English kid who's down playing cricket from England with a work colleague, his cricket club. So he needed some wheels, and I said, look, you know, so hopefully that all works out. I've sort of modified the insurance, and he's had to pay for rego and insurance for the duration of his stay while he uses the car anyway. This was the one I was going to give to him, but there was too much that I had to fix. So that should be sorted now. I'm hopeful. Anyway, we'll start on the CB100 engine. Right, so the last time I looked at this, we had our starter shaft for the CB100 was knackered because this spine here was just rooted. Somebody had tried to weld on a Kickstarter, and it did work until I took the weld off. It just all fell apart. There was no penetration or anything. So I found another shaft, and the guy said to me it won't fit because we've got a 15mm shaft here and a 13 there. See the difference in the spline. I didn't think that'd be a problem because it came with its own larger spline Kickstarter. So this should be the same. I'm going to start with some measurements. Well, I'm not going to measure, I'm just going to use my calipers. In a minute. Perfect. Lovely. Just take some roughies. 53-ish. Yeah. That little shim's going to have to go over there, which it goes beautifully. So I'm tipping this should be alright. We've got a thrust washer, a spring, a little ratchety thing, and we've got the shaft here, which should be the same as that. No, it's not. This is bigger. Oh, they're much bigger. That's the important part. That goes through the case. Then we've got these guys. So it all looks pretty good. So that we'll lubricate it soon. Where does this go? Oh, that goes on there. But I don't know what the relationship of that thing is, so I can't really do anything. There should be a spot for a circlip, which is there, yeah, it is too. So there's a thrust washer that has to go down one of these guys. It's keyed, and then that clip needs to go in, and that'll hold that in. That got to turn. Oh yeah, no, that's in. That's cool. That is turning, isn't it? Yeah, cool. Alright, I don't know what the relationship with this is, so I need to figure that bit out. Which I know when I go to pull the cases. And it goes like that. And then this plate goes to the bottom. So, you know, if you look at that hook there, it is different. I mean, this is, oh, hang on. The spring, that's the wrong way, you idiot. The spring is going to hook around there, which is looking like that's sort of what was going on there. It tucks right in, but it's worn this whole section out. I don't know how that's worn out. So that should tuck. Yeah, that sits. That's not bad. But this thing here, I'm not sure about how that's supposed to be. So I won't know that until I put it in the engine. But that looks like a winner. It looks like the way to go. Whoops, bigger shaft with its own dedicated Kickstarter. So that's really good. I'm happy with that. It was like, that was the dearest part of the whole engine I bought. It was 140 bucks or $150, I think, delivered. Right, so I've got a bit, well, what could be a potential problem. I'm not sure if I've got the right part. I think it's the right part. We've got this casing here, we've got this shaft. I've put that gear on. There's an old rag. I'll just shoot a bit of oil into here. Hang on. Oh, actually, before I do, I'll just put a bit around there. Just make sure that yeah, that fits. That's all right. I'm not going to use assembly lube yet because I'm not sure about something, because I had trouble yesterday closing up the case. A bit of oil around there. This protrusion goes in that hole. So if I just get that in there. Now this guy here, this is what I think, whoops. This is what I think the problem is. That has to rest up against there. But I think it's interfering with the case. I need a block of wood. And I'm not sure that I'm doing it correctly. So, we have a spring with two hooks on it that goes in and under that guy there. This one you have to stretch over to go into that little pocket there, like that, and then push it all the way home. There's another washer. Now this is where I'm running into problems, because I couldn't close up the case against that dowel, and I can't assemble anything in this engine unless that's right. So I'm going to dummy fit it, and the beauty of doing this is you can feel and you can also see in there to find out what the heck is going on. But the problem I had was it was out of kilter, like that, see? Why the hell doesn't that work? Why the hell am I having trouble with that? Because I shouldn't be. That should marry up and go in. And it doesn't. So, that front one will line up. I can squeeze that. This one here is out, and it's out about 1 millimeter. And I'm wondering, because this guy, the other one, was filed off there. And, sorry, filed off on that edge. It's been messed with, and I'm wondering if replacement shafts, I mean, this is an old one, if replacement shafts won't fit. The truth of the matter is, if I peer in there, that's actually clouding against it. I can see a scratch in the case. So, I'll pull it apart. Some bloody hell. Hang on a minute, I want to grab that shaft. See down here, oh damn. If I change the light, down there is a scratch. So it's hitting the case. So, I'm going to need to modify this guy. Oh, don't want to lose that. So I'm going to get a rag, wipe all that off, and I'm just going to use a grinder. It doesn't matter. I mean, look, these parts we're lucky to get because so many suppliers don't need to make parts once the thing gets to a certain age. What the hell did I do with the old shaft? But they'll make certain items fit a sort of a range of different vehicles. Hang on, what the hell did I do with the thing? I've got to clean up here, mate. I am just useless. Look at this mess. Oh, there it is. It's right in front of me. So, where's my vernier? Hang on a minute. Let me get my vernier. This thing's a bit dodgy, but I don't actually need it to be on. What I'm doing is I'm just checking that distance there. Whoops, with this one here. See that? I don't think it needs to be as aggressive as that. But I am going to take a bit off there. Right, so all I've done, I left that gear on. I ripped my gloves, but we're good. Wrap that around there, and I've just ground a bit off. It's probably not the best way, but I think it's acceptable to do it like that. Someone's going to pop that through. Where's the hole? Holes on that side. Actually, I'll just take it out and just do it on here because it's easier. But it'd be a pain in the neck if we get all the gear sets in, everything. We're ready to close the case, the sealer's there, and all this sort of other stuff. Damn, it just fell off. And then I found out, whoa, now I'm getting tangled with the camera. Then I found out that I had to pull it all apart again. That'd just be a pest. This is going to have to be round, so I'm just going to pull that spring around. It'll be easy just to do it upside down, get it in the right neck of the woods and move it over like that. Now, with that being put in there, we'll put the spring on again. And where's the, yep, that's all seated. Bring that up here. I've left my block of wood to chock the door open. Get in there. There we go. Alright, so let's try that for size, eh? But I didn't take much off, just a tiny bit. Mainly the flashing. And we're already, I think we're out of the woods. Hang on a minute, let me just knock this in and, okay. Is that going to hit? Right, so that's closed up there. Okay, just from taking just a little bit of flashing off the cast. This shaft came with a new Kickstarter. I think I already told you. We just want to make sure this can move. Where would it sit normally? About there. Seems to be doing alright, doesn't it? I reckon it might still be hitting. But if it is hitting, it's only a very small amount. So I'm just going to keep going, finesse this, and get it to where I want it to be. So if you can see in there, I'm going to point a seam there. It's still a little bit close. I think I'll take about 1 millimetre off it and we'll call it a day. So I should be using my calipers for this, but it doesn't matter. We've taken 1 mil off, one more and we're home and hosed. Right, so we've taken about another mil off and we're good. Right, so that can stay off for now. We're getting good clearance. We just had to modify, take a couple of mil off the casting. About 1 millimetre, not even, probably 0.5 millimetre, that was just, whoopsie. Oh, I pulled it out. I pulled it out. Oh no, we're good. It was just sort of cast flashing, if you know what I mean. So, what that comes down to now, we're clearing, we're good. Hang on, I've just got to set this up again. And this can stay in now. That's what I've taken off. So it ends up being, yeah, a couple of mil, 1.5 mil, 2 mil, maybe. What does this say? On 4569. Hang on, I'm just going to loosen that. Remember that number? 43. So yeah, I've taken 2 mil. That's all good. Except this thing is knackered. Okay, it doesn't matter. That is not important. The important thing is that we don't put this together and then get frustrated because it doesn't work. So that seat's down there, spring through the hole. We catch that with this spring, bring it around and stick that in there, and then we're done, right? Oh, we'll just get that little shim, thrust washer, put that in there, golden. All right, now we need to get a couple of bits of wood to hold it up while we start putting other stuff in. Right, so I've let that slide, doesn't matter. Look at these gear sets in. They've got shims on the back of them. We've just got to think which way this goes. Hang on a second. That goes that way with the shim facing down. Where's my oil? This guy interweaves with that. Hang on a minute. Is that sitting in properly? Yes, that's sitting in properly. This goes down that way. So this goes like that, that goes like that, and they mesh like that. So I'm tipping if I just push this down or let it fall. Is that right? That doesn't feel very good, does it? That should be about right there. They've both got a shim on them. Yes, Kickstarter. I can do that in a moment. Right, well, I did struggle with this a little bit because I let it just sort of fall apart when I was sort of disassembling it. I've got the gearbox in, right? Those two clusters need to be put in together because some of the gears overlap. So these two need to go in together. You've got to make sure you don't drop the thrust bearing, the thrust washers. Then the shift drum. Then you can feed the shift forks in from the sides and then drop the shaft through, yeah? The rebate in the shaft with the ball detent is on the top. The other two float. On the back side, kickstarters in, shift drum and detent wheel, and that determines the that we're in the right gear by falling in between these sort of low points in that star. That's neutral, so you got first, neutral, second, third, fourth, fifth. So at the moment it's in fifth. If we turn it back, I'm on the detent, hang on a second. So we're nice and free. If we turn it back one, we got fourth, third, second. It's got to go uphill to get to second. Hang on a minute. There's second. Then we're going for neutral. We've got neutral. And then first. Hang on a minute, where's first? Not that second, hang on, first is back here. There's first. Right, so that's all looking rather good. So, crank can go in. Timing gear is on this side. So I can just drop him in. making sure our rod's in the right spot. Where's that piece of wood? Hang on a minute. And now I'm just going to wipe out here a bit because I've got to put a sealer and clean all around this before we put the other half of the case on. I've got the locating down here, locating down there. The spring is set for the Kickstarter. There's a thrust washer on the end of each shaft. And there's the neutral switch, which looks like it's facing the wrong direction, but it's not. I think we're good. Alright, so we'll clean that up. We'll get some thinners. I might just drop I'm running out of assembly lube. Sounded like me the other day. How revolting. Just drop that on there, let it just work its way around the gears. So tempting, that noise. Okay. So I'm going to clean this up, clean up the other case, and put it together. Righto. So, I'm just going to use a bit of thinner. Just around the perimeter. Just to get rid of any residue. Now, ordinarily, I'd put this gasket in dry. I'm not going to. Some people use a very light skim of RTV. I'm going to use a tiny bit of Permatex because the Celastic that I've got, well, it's proper stuff, proper 3-bond stuff, but it does take a while to go off, and there's a lot of oily stuff in here, assembly lubes and all this sort of stuff, which are going to interfere with it. But yeah, I reckon it's going to be a better proposition just to use a little bit of Permatex because Permatex seals pretty much straight away. There it is there. They call it aviation sealer, but I don't know how many planes are getting around with Permatex on. So I'm just going to go round, and whatever is left I can just wipe away with thinners once I've assembled the case. We don't have to have it fully black, just a little. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. It might be behind the case, eh? I'm just sort of dabbing it on like that and then running it around like that. I don't want too much. I only want a little suggestion of it. The camera's on. The camera's off. I've just put all the fasteners in with the Phillips head. They're JIS, so I can't tighten them. And I've used the crappiest one, which wasn't that good looking in terms of plating, right under here. And we've got Permatex around it. I don't know how much I missed. So that's all good. I'm just going to get my JIS bits and just nip them up. Yeah, I dropped it. Even this bit's got a bit of wear on it, but it's not too bad. That's done. Alright, I think we're good. We are good. We're rotating. We're rotating. Splendid. Not too bad of an oversight. We'll just put a bit of grease on here. And just a bit around there, just to let it slide over without cutting up the seal, which we don't want. Actually, just let me see something. Yep. I don't like doing that. Oh, I don't like doing that either. Alright. Tonal change. Superb. Does it spin? Yeah, it spins. Woohoo! Now we'll stick the one for the gear shift in. God knows which one that is. Is that it? Just be careful. These seals, some of them have the same OD, but they're very different. You know what I mean? So you just got to make sure there's a few that look the same in the bag. So this is the one that we need, and a plug socket fits that beautifully. So when I pulled this guy out, it was a bit messed up. It's all bent. That's for the chain tension. It sits sort of down here, although that bit there is, I think, is meant to sit underneath where the timing chain goes. The timing chain is 100 link, yeah? So the one that came out to 100, the one I was first supplied had 84. So there's, you know, a discrepancy straight off the bat with that. So I'm just going to cable tie it somewhere. Just because I don't want it falling out. Or I don't want it falling down here. Because they can be, or they just, you know, get it in, fish it out. But when the crank turns, by the time you get all this other stuff in, they tangle. So, what's the best way to do this? Right, so we've got this tension. I'm not sure if you can see it. I've got the spring sort of perched on it. I'm going to try and start this bolt. The bolt, I put a flat washer on, I'm just putting Loctite on there as well. Because there was no lock washer or anything on there. Oh gosh, hang on, I've got that wrong. That's got to go up like that. Yeah, there was no lock washer or anything on it. Damn, get in there. Hang on, what am I doing? Every time I turn the freaking camera on, I start making mistakes. Hang on a sec, I've got to move that over a little bit to there. The springs are quite tight. Probably should have put the thing on first. Oh damn, I forgot this. Oh my goodness. Don't listen to me. I have no idea. There we go. We'll lock that down. And that spring will give tension to the tensioner itself. So I'm just going to nip that up. Little woodruff key. Looks like I'm putting it in this position because I locked the timing chain. We've got the stator. No, we haven't. We've got the, not the stator, what's this called? We've got this thing. And this, of course, it's got our timing marks on it. So I'm just going to line it up with a key. Chuck the stator in. That's got a grommet, so it's sort of self-explanatory where it goes. Down in there, and it'll sit. Whoa, hang on, that's wrong. Damn, I've got... I didn't do that too well. Hang on, let me get a little screw stick under there. And just free up that guy. That is for the neutral switch. For the indicator light, and I haven't got one. I've still got to order that yet. And then these should marry up with the threads that are in the case. And then we're kind of golden, you know. I didn't clean these up. I probably should. They're pretty grotty. How many screws are there? 3 or 4? 1, 2, 3. I think there's only 3. They're pretty mangy. Just give them a wipe. They're not Loctited or anything. Or lock-taut. How do you say Loctited? Is it plural? I have no idea. Actually, Posidrive fits really well for JLS. So I'll just do this up. And we can put the cover on there. It's a big sort of O-ring that goes in there. And, you know, it's all hunky-dory. And all this, really, just because it had a broken spark plug. Why did I take the case apart? Oh, the Kickstarter, that's right. The two things that had, the broken spark plug's easy because you can just get to it by taking the head off. I didn't want to break the porcelain in the cylinder, and it's a good thing I didn't because the cylinder barrel's in fantastic condition. But the Kickstarter shaft I had to pull apart. So it ended up being pretty much a full overhaul, even though I didn't really do much. The beauty of this thing is I can put that cover on. You can still see the timing marks, and you know, hunky dory. Okay, I've got a square cut O-ring seal. It came in the gasket kit. The gasket kit for this was cheap as chips. It was like $40 or $30 or something. So it's not a not going to make you get a second mortgage or anything. Just make sure it's not twisted anyway. And this can go on. It's beautiful and neat. That's what I love about Honda stuff. And we can see our timing mark things. There's a little divot there to line up your marks with. And we'll put the nice ones up the top. And there's one that's got a little bit of corrosion on it that can go down the bottom. Ah, crap, hang on, I forgot something. I did forget something. I forgot to put this in. Hang on a minute. I wonder if I can put it in by Filo Vision. And I also wonder if that O-ring is going to be big enough. I should have put this in before I put the stator in. That was dumb, wasn't it? Well, it should be alright. I'll just whack a bit of grease around it. Around that O-ring. And that should find its way. You got to push this down so that the base of this thing fits over the top. And then it'll work properly. Yep, that's it. That was a near miss of stupidity. I just put the lock nut there, but I'm not going to tighten anything for now. Alright, cool. Now we can put this guy in. And that turns freely. Yes, it does. Oh, we need another one. Hang on a minute. That's looking pretty good. This is a new front sprocket. This is another one that didn't have lock bolts or lock nuts or anything on them. Oh, come on. It uses this thing, but these bolt in, they're only quite a short one. But I would like to see a lock nut there, or what do you call it, a lock washer there, I think. I might just re-tape that. It's a little bit stiff, the loom. Probably shouldn't be putting this on now, but stuff it, let's just do it. Lock that on. And I've used a slightly longer fastener to allow for the what do you call it? The lock washers I'm putting on. Hang on, is that going to do up or what? What's going on with that? That's got damage on it, was it? Let's have a look. I might run that through a die nut. Yeah, I think I will. Cool. We're just going to do that bit. When we get it, I'm just going to put this strainer back in. This was a mess. It's full of dusty stuff. So I'm just going to have to try and make do. I might have to buy another one actually, because it does look pretty knackered. We'll just see. There's a cap and a spring that sort of fits in behind it. I'm not sure. I'm assuming it goes that way. but it looks pretty messed up. I'm just going to try and clean it first. On this side for now, I've got the little oil thing in. So now I've got to turn it around and start doing this side. Starting with our gear shift shaft. It's got 2 springs that go either side of that little tab there. I'm just going to put a little bit of slip on there. Probably oil is a better thing to do because this grease could interfere with the clutch plates. I'm only putting a little tiny bit in. And it's just that seal that I want to protect. And those springs you can actually see in here when they're in. You can put a thing in there and splayed either side of it, which is there. Cool, that's it. So it should spring that way and that way, and then we're good. All right, let's have a look at some of the other stuff we've got to put in. I've just got to clean up a bit. Right, I've got the oil filter on. Oh, the oil pump, sorry. I'm just going to put this on and try and marry it up with the final drive. It's probably easy if I take that off, actually. There it is. There's a washer, goes on there. Right, we've got a thrust plate there, a thrust washer there. We'll chuck him in. That goes around. Hang on, let me have a look. That goes around there. It sits there and floats. Now, we've got friction plates. I just want to measure these. 2.97 mil. The serviceable limit's 2.6. Right, we start with one of these, friction one. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil around there, not a whole lot, because they're pretty oily anyway. They've already been soaked well and truly. And I just don't think it's an issue. I'm going to fill that too. Okay. And if the clutch slips like crazy, we know it was the wrong oil. Let's give this a quick wipe. Oh dear me. The things we do, the things we do. Okay. Got that nice and clean. Ish. I've already ordered that. Hunky dory. Stick. Oh, here we go. We're going to have to line all this up. And it'll just step down through each plate till it gets to there. Is that all the way down? Oh, damn. Hang on. You don't want to... That doesn't seem all the way down to me. Is that all right? Yes, it is. I'll put circle on. With my reasonably useless blue point or snap-on ones. Yeah, the blue point. Just make sure that's seated. Where's my little... Is that seated? Yep, that's seated. Okay, strings. And this bloke, we'll just tighten these down bit by bit. Alright, you've got to tighten these up sort of in a crisscross pattern. I'm just going to use my drill. Alright, we'll just tighten in by hand. We'll lock the crank up first. I'm going to lock it up and put this oil filter thing. I'm just going to go outside and clean that. Okay. We've got this little bloke here. I bought a special tool for the 750, same as that. This guy, just off eBay, and it's a special Honda tool, so we can do stuff up. Never do this with a rattle gun. Except if you're me. Right. It's worth its weight in gold. You need to get one of them, and they're cheap. If you get a genuine Honda service tool, which this isn't, you'll pay a lot more for it. But yeah, I reckon that's fantastic. Alright. Now to clean this thing up. That's the cap for the oil filter. There's a gasket in there. I just need to clean this a bit. And some of the screws, I actually, yeah, one of them is messed up. But I haven't got a replacement for it, so it's just going to have to do. And then we can, I think, oh, you know what I should do? This is pretty dumb, isn't it? I haven't even checked the Kickstarter. I checked it at the start, but I didn't check it after. So I'm just going to have to undo that timing chain. Where's my side cutters? The chain slipped off, but it'll do. We know that works. No, it's cool. That's alright, because this is going to go on soon for the last time. New gasket in there and put him on. And it'll fit just nicely. One of these screws is absolutely knackered though. I'm just going to have to do my best. Right, so I've just stuck the dowels back in. Hope they're the right ones. Where's this go? Like this. Nope. Like this. Like that. That will sit over there. That will sit there. Hope they're the right dowels. I've reassembled that guy for the clutch, and I've stuck a little bit of slip in there. It goes this way. I should also just lube that shaft a little bit. Just so I don't cut the seal when I put it in. Still worries me doing that because all that, I wanted to see if the Kickstarter was working properly. Which it seems to be working fine. Perfect. Alright, I'm going to chain that up again, or at least tie that up again, or just let it hang out the front. And stuff rags in here. Because now it's just going to be a horrendous pain if I get anything or drop anything down there. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Actually, I might even put that cover back on just until I'm ready. Hang on. Just until I'm ready to work on it. There's an O-ring that goes on the back of this. But after that little exercise, I want to make quite sure nothing is going to drop in here. Right, so this is done. I still haven't cleaned up with the thinners. That's just sitting there. I wouldn't mind taping that up again. Well, it's all looking lovely and clean and dandy. And of course, the other side, we've got that really lovely new Kickstarter, which I'm really happy with. So what we've got is piston and barrel to put on. Check that out, how good it is. New set of standard Honda rings, some gaskets. The cylinder head had the broken plug. The thread was knackered. I think that's why the plug had broken in it, but I've picked up another head for $10 from the auction, so it's going to be quicker and cheaper to do that rather than send it out, send the original one out. So I'll wait to get those. I'll see if he's open tomorrow because I bought a bunch of stuff. And, you know, is that doing the right thing? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it should be good. I hope that was right. I didn't like that. Anyway, it's I hope you've enjoyed that. It's not really everyone's flavour, I guess, doing this sort of stuff, but I do enjoy it. So take good care of yourselves, enjoy your classic, and I'll see you soon.